What's up, kids? Justin again, your host of Spectrum Real Estate Consultants team at Keller Williams Real Estate here in Lincoln, Rhode Island. And today we are going over episode 3 of our segment regarding preparing for your showings. And this particular episode is about effective communication with buyers and buyers agents leading up to your first showings, preparing for those showings. And we're going to go over 4 steps. Now, of course, communication is key. Communication is a cornerstone to any relationship, and the relationship between you and your buyers agents is probably one of the most important, especially when considering your property for sale. So let's take a look at step 1, which is prompt responding. Now, obviously, today's world is very fast-paced. 24-hour accountability is a thing. We just went over that in the last episode or 2. But we're going to talk about a little bit of alpha that's going to help you be prompt and stay detailed while still being prompt. Now, we've all got lives. We've all got other things to do. And just because you've decided to sell your property doesn't mean your entire life can take a back seat to everything else that you've got going on, just so you can solely focus on selling your home. So the thing to do here is to set up systems to help you be successful with your goal, which today is being prompt in responding to all inquiries. Now, we talked again in the last episode about how not all buyers or buyers agents are created equal, and certainly not equal in their tech savvy. So getting back to people where they've inquired as soon as humanly possible is very important. Now, many buyers and buyers agents prefer to make that initial introduction on the phone rather than sending a text or an email or anything else, because they want to get some real information from the horse's mouth, especially, and believe me folks, there's not very many homes that come up for sale that are for sale by owner and aren't represented by a realtor. So when a buyer sees that a home is not being represented by a realtor, they think that there's one less layer of impediment between themselves as a buyer and the ultimate from the horse's mouth information. Nobody that's going to obfuscate or confuse or spin lies, as we're all thought to do in the real estate industry, which of course we don't do any of, but that is the thought. So these buyers think that they're gonna call, chat you up, make a great first impression over the phone, maybe get some information from you that you probably shouldn't have divulged. So a lot of these initial, hey, I want to come see your property messages may come over through the telephone. And let's be intellectually honest with ourselves. We have less and less time as human beings to set aside whatever it is we're doing at that moment and answer a telephone call because of all the factors previously explained. So something that I like to do, and many other real estate professionals like to do, is set up text templates to answer phone calls. Now, obviously, you can't know what somebody is calling about, especially if it's a number that's not known to you, but you can set up various text responses that you can just snap, click, whenever you like, when a call comes in, to promptly answer that call. I like to use things like, hey, thanks for calling. I can't pick up right now, but I can text. I'm in a meeting. What can I help you with? And then not only have you addressed this inquiry immediately, but you've also left an opportunity for a paper trail to create itself. This person is going to likely identify themselves as inquiring about your property, at least, probably also give you their names. And that's somewhere where you now have, in perpetuity into the future, a record of a person's name tied to a phone number inquiring about your home. One system that I like to use in keeping myself organized and collecting all that information. Now, you can also continue to go back and forth through text message. Hopefully they will. That alleviates some time pressure on you. That will keep you stuck to a phone call that you don't have time for, and also not allow you to do any data tracking. But also, it will allow time for that person to express their desire if they so choose. Like, hey, I'd rather do this on a phone call. Can you please call me when you're available? Sure, no problem. What is your name? And again, now you've got that record. You can also, and I do, and lots of real estate professionals also do, set up template responses via email, so that when a particular email comes in the subject heading, if it's got anything to do with a property for sale, home, your property address, showing, all of these keywords will be a catch-all that will send that email directly to one folder, so you've got them in one place to review, and then also set up automatic responses, or at least template responses, to people who send emails with those keywords in them saying, first of all, thank you. You've thanked them for their email, but you're also thanking them for following instructions, thanking them not explicitly in the text body of the email, but in essence, thanking them for following those directions and helping you stay organized. You really do owe them thanks if they've actually been able to accomplish that. So say, thanks for your email. I appreciate you wanting to come and take a look at my home for sale. I'll be getting back to you right away. You can also leave that as part of your text response on a text message. I'll get back to you right away if you don't have time at that moment. It alleviates that time pressure. Everybody today wants speed to that lead. If your home has just been published for sale, every buyer and buyer's agent out there wants to attack it immediately to be the first body through the door and hopefully the first offer into your email box to give them a better shot at winning the bid. They're going to take every angle they possibly can to give themselves an advantage. You want to make sure that them trying to get the advantage doesn't turn into you becoming disorganized. All right, we've got that. Step number 2 is professional tone and professional language. Now, does this even bear repeating? Maybe it does. It's easy to get frustrated. As we described, there's a lot of people who are going to ignore your showing instructions. They're going to contact you by every method they possibly can. They may even show up to your home. You need to be diplomatic in making sure you're dealing with these folks and also recognizing that all interaction with people during the run-up to your showings, especially stuff that's in print, on text messages and email, can and will become part of legal discovery if there were any legal issues with your property for sale. Everything that you say and the way that you represent it could be construed in whatever manner in a court of law, should that ever become a problem down the road. Excluding legality as a problem, you just need to understand that folks have a lot of different things going on, just as we all do in our own lives, and to not immediately write off what may seem to be an obvious answer to a very silly question, because whatever question they've asked from you in this email or text is plainly obviously answered in the listing description where you're marketing your home. This is absolutely replete throughout the real estate profession. There's just people who are working too quickly, who aren't, frankly, in some cases, even interested in answering their own questions. They just rather take the easy option, click that phone button, and call you and get the answer from the horse's mouth, and hopefully some other information that maybe you shouldn't have given up. So please be professional, be courteous, be genuine. We want to create with our communication a seamless and professional experience that lends itself to people understanding that your home is wonderful and that's been well maintained. And believe it or not, the way you act towards people and your emotion, your demeanor is going to be a direct reflection on how they feel when they arrive for the showing. And it's all part and parcel of making them feel warm and fuzzy about your home so they offer you the best possible purchase price for it. Moving on to step 3, clear and accurate information. So we talked about property disclosures. We want to give the buying public a chance to digest our home and to answer their own questions, hopefully, about all the building systems and generally everything you do know about your home. They can see it there, they can read it there, they can study it there. They won't. They're not going to. Very few buyers are, because of the fast-paced nature of today's market, they're zooming. As soon as a property hits the market, they are on top of it like a hawk. Their buyer's agents are on top of it like a hawk. If the buyer's worth their salt, especially if the buyer's agent is worth their salt, yes, they may. But typically speaking, they are not going to read those property disclosures. And again, they're going to take the easy route and they're going to ask you. And just because you've published this information somewhere already, or just because you've published it in several different places already, does not mean you get to act like a jerk to people when they ask for the same information multiple times. So be clear. In addition, you want to be clear with your request for information from people. When it pertains to showing, you may be selling multiple properties. We don't know. What address are you after? What date and time are you after for your showing? Who are you? Do you have a buyer's agent? All of these things are dramatically important in your record keeping when it comes time for follow-up, for feedback, and making sure that these people are or are not going to be making an offer. For God's sakes, if you have information on parking instructions or how to conduct oneself as a buyer when they are coming to your open house, there are myriad different situations, but let's take the first example of a single-family home in a nice neighborhood, or any neighborhood for that matter, and the guy or gal neighbor across the street or next to you really can't stand where people are parking on his or her curbside because, hey, that belongs to me, it's not public parking. Or if it's a condo that doesn't have, completely unfettered parking, there's only a couple of different visitor spots. And if somebody parks in somebody else's deeded space, they get towed, within 10 minutes, or there's a parking fine. You get the idea. I cannot tell you how many sales have been torpedoed by homeowners, if I'm acting on the buyer side, not being explicit with how to conduct oneself as a buyer or buyer's agent when coming to visit their home. And you get this guy or gal neighbor rushing out into the street, hey, you get your car off my lawn. And listen, who wants that guy next to them? Who wants that kind of neighbor? Who's paying all this money? Who's going to go over asking price and waive all these contingencies to buy your home with that guy living next door? Same thing with the Karens at the homeowners association. If you know somebody's going to flip out over a parking situation or any other type of situation when it comes to, again, condos, the amenities, who's allowed in and when, is signage allowed to be posted and how, all of these things are up to you to figure out and to be very explicit in your direction in conducting your showings so that people are acting accordingly and they don't get uptight about the showing experience. Forget about you and managing these neighbors. They want to feel positive about your home. So please be very, very specific. Also understand that, folks are, you're not the only game in town. Even though it's a very low inventory environment, there's not very many homes on the market for sale, buyers still have to make the most use of their time because of, concepts we described earlier about people not having any damn time anymore. They're really going to work too much to make ends meet in this economy. And because of that, they're going to be seeing multiple properties generally in the same day on the same route. Now, time elapses and information changes. Say somebody calls you on a Wednesday for a Saturday showing. You confirm they're showing on that Wednesday. They're to be showing up on Saturday at 11 o'clock to see your home. You expect them to show up. Anybody would. The showing's been confirmed. But say 2 more homes are published on the market for sale that are like yours on Thursday and Friday, and now that buyer's super hot on one of these other homes. Your home still may be the best home for them. It still may end up being the home they like the most out of the 3 that they're going to see. However, the pictures and the listing description and just the way this other home was marketed was beyond the scope of yours, and they're really excited about it. Don't let them ditch your showing. Don't let them punt your showing out of the way so that they can make it to this other one. Double confirm, either on Friday before that Saturday showing or on the morning of Saturday. Make sure you get the opportunity to remind them that they were scheduled to see your home at such and such a time and to talk it up. If you are taking their temperature about how they're responding to you on the phone and they seem a little tepid, oh yeah, we'll probably be there, hope to see you soon. Take a minute, stop. Well, what do you mean hope? What do you mean you're going to try to make it? What's going on? Maybe they tell you about this other home. Maybe you get an opportunity to point out features about your home that are better than the one they're going to see, or at least convince them that your home is a must-see in comparison to the others, even though they might be really hot for another. You don't want to leave anything on the table. The name of the game is the best dollar for your sale. That's what it's going to take, double confirmation. Now, addressing questions and concerns. Again, think of yourself as the consummate professional. You don't want to let your emotion come into play when people are asking questions. Now, we talked about reiterating already published information. You're going to be doing that. But let's think about during the showing, you have somebody who's in the basement with you and there's a rusty support column and this buyer points it out as, hey, that support column looks a bit rusty. Do you know what's going on? Is there any functional defect in the foundation? Like, what's going on here? Now, you could say, come on, guy. Do you see any settling in the plaster upstairs? Is the house falling down around you? Like, come on. You see a little rust on my lolly column? You're going to break my balls about it? I get it. It's a little silly. Point out a little bit of rust on an iron support column, a steel support column. But that's not the answer you want to give. Even if you do know. Let's say you're a licensed structural engineer. Do you necessarily want to tie your opinion of the structural soundness of your home to your own professional license? Maybe not. Maybe the best answer is something like, well, yeah, I can see it's rusty. I haven't had any experience of any cracks upstairs or settling of any kind, and the house certainly isn't falling down around us, so I'm not sure it's a concern, but I'm not really a licensed opinion on the subject. Maybe you should consult somebody. That's a better answer. kicking it and seeing if it falls down. You get the idea. You got to be diplomatic about this stuff. You want people to know that you're willing to address their concerns. You're willing to answer their questions if you can. You're willing to give them your personal feedback, but at the end of the day, if you're not a licensed authority on the subject, you can't really answer their questions. This is what's going to give people that peace of mind, that warm and fuzzy feeling. This is the house for me. This guy's not a turtle J.O. You get the idea. So we're going to wrap up with the last concept, which is regarding flexibility and accommodation. We kind of touched on this in the last episode. It is going to take all of your flexibility and all of your ability to accommodate folks to really pull this off. I know it's virtually impossible to set your entire life aside to focus on your property sale, but if you want top dollar, especially in today's highly, highly competitive buyer's market, you're really going to have to stand out, because those buyers are going to be here and gone in a flash to another home if you don't grab onto them. Not to say your home won't sell. It probably still will. It's a very slanted seller's market, but you could be missing out on volumes, multiple tens of thousands potentially in your sale if you don't do everything right here. So congratulations to you on sitting through all 17 minutes of me droning on about how to communicate with buyers and buyers agents. We'll be back again with the last episode in this series regarding creating a beautiful showing experience for your buyers. We'll see you on the next one.